compacted include Moriah, Crown Point, Cornwall, Shrew Lake, Canton, Fort Henry, Addison, Shoreham, GAR State Park, Crown Point Center, Bridgeport, Whiting, Weybridge, Salisbury, Orwell, Phillipsburg, North Hudson, Owl's Head Bay, Mud Island, and Plumies Point. Boaters on Lake Champlain should seek safe harbor now. Strong winds will cause higher waves and sudden wind shifts may overturn boats. For your protection, move to an interior room on the lowest floor of a building. Torrential rainfall is occurring with this storm and may lead to flash flooding. Do not drive your vehicle through flooded roadways.
The Brady Farkas Show is produced and funded by WDEV and the Radio Vermont Group. We welcome listener feedback. Email your comments to wdev@radiovermont.com.
The energy.
So this guy in the fantasy baseball chat is just ripping me. He's calling me names for how I handled my team. Buddy, you had 20 weeks for your own team to play better. Don't be mad at me.
The passion.
Mac Jones is fighting not just for his Patriots job, but he very well may be fighting for his NFL future.
The opinions on all your favorite teams.
For the Red Sox, it can't always be about next year. It can't always be about down the road. Where's the team that battles for now?
This is the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
What's up, everybody? Happy Thursday here on the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM and FM and WDEVradio.com. We're done with the short shows. We're done with the 10-minute shows. Full show, all 90 minutes up until 7 o'clock. We need all 90. We're answering questions about the Patriots. We're talking about the NFL at large. This is our NFL season preview show. It's one of my favorite shows of the year. It's one of our most exciting days of the year, and you can be a part of it. 802-585-3026. That's the text line number, 802-585-3026. I spoke to Buster Olney of ESPN earlier today. Buster was kind enough to tape that interview. We put it up on our podcast channel already, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and WDEVradio.com. Freddie Coleman of ESPN Radio is going to stop by with us about 6:20 today. We taped that as well. Remember, Freddie's got his new radio show, which is actually on the air right now at ESPN Radio. So Freddie and I talked earlier today. We'll play that interview for you at about 6:10. Again, 802-585-3026. We'll do our six-pack, our first six-pack of NFL questions today at about 6:05. I got a story for you that, I don't know, you might believe it, but I didn't believe it, so I'll tell you about that as well. Danny, let go.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And here we go.
The opening thoughts of the Brady Farkas Show were brought to you by Sticks and Stuff and by Swanton Lumber, Vermont's most complete, locally owned home center with locations in Enosburg, Derby, Middlesex, St. Albans, and at Swanton Lumber. They're online at sticksandstuff.com. Danny, I'm going to give you time. I want the NFL music. We're going to play a lot of NFL music today, so get the NFL primetime music ready, and then I'll talk and I'll tell you when we want to play it. I want to play a little game with all of you right now. I want to play a little game of optimism regarding the New England Patriots. I've been pretty, what I think is honest. I've been what I call a Patriots truth teller throughout this entire offseason, right? I think they are a 7-10 win team. I think they are closer to an 8-win team overall. I think they will be fighting for the last playoff spot in the AFC. I think they're very much on the average to bad scale when it comes to the AFC. So I've been pretty, I don't want to say negative. I just think I've been pretty realistic about the Patriots. As we get ready for week one, it's a time for renewed hope. Patriots and Eagles Sunday at 4:25. We will have that game for you on DEV. Let's play a little game of optimism. If things are going to go well for the Patriots this year, better than I expect, what needs to happen? What is going to have happened if we're looking back at this team in January saying, you know what? That team won 10, 11 games this year. Patriots go 11-6 this year. Patriots make the playoffs. Patriots get a home playoff game. What has gone well for them? 802-585-3026. Danny, cue the music. Okay, I've got 6 things that if the Patriots are going to be really good this year, if they're going to be really good, these 6 things will need to have happened. 3 of them, I think, are fairly obvious. 3 of them, a little less so. Let's get to the obvious first. If the Patriots are going to have been really good this year, the Bill O'Brien and Mac Jones partnership needs to work splendidly, right? Like, that's not rocket science. But the number one thing for this Patriots team, if they're going to be good, is that Bill O'Brien and Mac Jones are they are dynamite together. We know that last year the offense was broken. We know that last year the relationships on the offense were broken. The receivers didn't trust the play calling. Mac didn't trust the play calling. Joe Judge clearly didn't trust anybody. So the offense, the system was broken. The relationships were broken. The chemistry was broken. Everything last year for the Patriots offensively was broken. If the Pats are going to be good here in 2023, all of that needs to be fixed. So if we hit the highest end of their ceiling, it will have been fixed, and it will have been the doing of Bill O'Brien. Bill O'Brien coming here, if this team is going to hit the highest end of their ceiling, will have fixed all those problems. The team will have gelled. The team will believe in each other. The team will trust each other. The team will play hard for each other. And we will see everybody at the best version of themselves, like we saw with Josh McDaniels in Mac Jones' rookie season in 2021. Okay? That is numero uno. That is the key to this team. If the offense is fixed, then the Patriots have a chance to be a lot better than we think. If the offense looks better and people trust each other, then Bill isn't questioning Mac, and Bill isn't belittling Mac in public, and Mac isn't having to answer questions about Zappe in public, and O'Brien isn't worried about Belichick butting in on what he's doing. Everybody just does their job and stays out of each other's way if the Bill O'Brien partnership with Mac Jones works. That's number one. Number two, if the Patriots are going to be really good in 2023, what needs to happen? They need to stay healthy. This is another fairly obvious one. We could say this about every single team in the NFL. For the Patriots, I think it really, really applies, doesn't it? We don't think the Patriots have great talent. We've talked all year, all offseason, and bemoaned the Patriots' lack of playmakers, their lack of weaponry, their lack of dynamicness at quarterback. Well, when you don't have great talent, you can't then have injuries and be forced to play with one hand tied behind your back. If the Patriots are going to surprise people in 2023, they're going to have to remain very, very healthy. When you don't have a lot of talent, you can't go losing what talent you have. They do not have the depth to cover up for it. They do not have the depth to cover up for a lack of for injuries. Okay, we've already seen injury questions with this team, right? Riley Reif, their offensive lineman, is already out for Sunday. There's already the report from Ian Rappaport that Juju Smith-Schuster's knee could basically explode at any time. So there's already injury questions. But if they're going to be good, they're going to need to largely skirt the injury bug. They can't replace Kyle Duggar easily. They can't replace Christian Gonzalez easily. They only have 2 tight ends. They just signed Farrell Brown, but they really only have 2 tight ends. They can't replace Hunter Henry easily, and they can't afford to lose Juju and lose Parker, 2 guys that have been known to be injury risks in their career. You can't lose Mac. They can't really afford to lose Zeke. When you're playing with everybody healthy, this Patriots team can make some noise. You start whittling away at that roster, this Patriots team is a lot closer to 4-13 than they are to 13-4. If they're going to be surprisingly good in 2023, being healthy is right near the top. Number 3, another one that's I think is obvious, but not as obvious as the first 2. If the Patriots are going to be good in 2023, what needs to happen? The defense has to remain special, not just above average, not just good, but like they need to be top 5 good. That's where the Patriots defense needs to be if this team is going to be really, really good and overachieve. I think the Vegas win total on the Patriots is like 7.5. If they're going to hit above that, they're going to need the defense to be special. Okay, I felt like last year Patriots scored a zillion points off defense and off special teams. I've said over and over again that that's not repeatable. What if it is? What if the Patriots do that again? right? They had the pick 6 against Aaron Rodgers when Jack Jones did it. They had the fumble recovery from Kyle Duggar against the Lions, the punt return, the walk-off against the Jets with Marcus Jones. What if? What if the defense and special teams units can do that kind of thing again? Patriots defense is going to have to be elite. The offense we don't think is great. Can the offense get to 17 points a game and the defense help get you to the other 7, the other 10 that you're going to need? Can Mac lead you to 17 points a game on his own and the defense get to pick 6 or a scoop and score or a sack fumble or the defense get to turnover on downs at midfield and now Mac's got a short field? If the Patriots defense can do that again, then obviously the calculus for this team changes. The offense isn't good enough to do it on their own. But if the defense can force turnovers and put you in short field situations and give Mac the ball in advantageous situations where another team's defense is back on their heels, then you're talking about a team that can make some noise. 802-585-3026. Things that need to happen if the Patriots are going to be shooting way above their weight class this year. Peter in Williston says, for the Pats to go 11-6 and make the postseason, the defense has to be as good or better than advertised. The run game needs to be dynamic with Zeke and company, and Mac needs to be afforded more time in the pocket to find his playmakers. I think all three of those things are absolutely valid and absolutely true. As for I have 3 other things the Patriots need to do this year if they want to kind of shoot above their weight class. Peter hit on one of them. They need Ezekiel Elliott to really give them something. This Patriots team needs to run the football. With this offensive line, and now with an injury to Riley Reif, they can't rely on the pass. They can't rely on Mac Jones dropping back to throw it 47 times a game. This team needs to be balanced. They need to be effective and efficient. They need to run the football. They need to help Mac Jones out. Okay? The offensive line isn't going to help Mac out. The separation ability of the wide receivers is not going to help Mac Jones out. Can the running game help Mac Jones out? We know that Ramondre Stevenson is good. I know he's a workhorse. But to Peter's point, can Zeke really contribute as well? What does he have left in the tank? Can he give you the 6 to 8 carries a game you truly need from him? Because let's just say the Patriots want to run it 27 times a game. Can Ramondre Stevenson run it 20 and Zeke run it 7? And can those 7 be effective? Can he be good in the pass blocking game? Can he be good in the red zone? Can he be good on short yardage? Does he have any burst left? Patriots are going to have to run the ball for 120, 130 yards a game. Can Ramondre Stevenson go for 20 carries and 90 yards? And can Zeke go for 7 for 40? That'd be a pretty high average. Can Ramondre give you a 110 and Zeke give you a 30? 25 on 6 carries? Maybe, but they're going to need it. They need Zeke to stay healthy. They need Zeke to be productive. This cannot just be a one running back show when Ramondre Stevenson gets run into the ground and then gets injured. They need Ezekiel Elliott to give them something. Number 5, if the Patriots are going to be better in 2023 than we think, what needs to happen? They've got to be better in the red zone. Simply put. Okay, Danny gave us the stat a couple weeks ago. The Patriots offense last year was the worst in the NFL. Not second worst, not third worst, not fifth worst. They were the worst team in the NFL when it came to red zone touchdown percentage. Patriots get to the red zone, they scored a touchdown 42% of the time. If you want to win 10, 11, 12 games in this AFC, you've got to get 6. Can't be getting 3. You've got to get touchdowns. Like, think about this, okay? Patriots offense, what have we said, right? We've said that they're not that dynamic. We've said they don't have a whole lot of talent on this roster. Okay, if they're going to take methodic 10, 11, 12 play drives and churn up 6 minutes off the clock to get down to the red zone, they've got to get touchdowns. They cannot afford to get field goals, okay? They cannot afford to get field goals. Look back on this. Okay, I just went and found the clip. November 25th, 2020, 3 years ago, we had Doug Flutie on this show, former Patriots quarterback. Danny, I will play this. Doug Flutie, former Heisman Trophy winner, he was saying the same thing How about the 2020 Pats, as I'm saying right now?
When you're a nickel and dime passing, when you're not the downfield passing, it's run the ball, eat up clock, play action, Cam running the ball. How do we convert first down? Convert first downs, convert. And all of a sudden it's a 16-play drive. You're only going to have 3 or 4 possessions a half.
Yeah.
You've got to make the most of those and come away with points. No matter what, though, by doing that, even when they come away with a field, you're going to be in a one-possession game.
You've got to get touchdowns. He says there you got to get points. He means you got to get touchdowns. Okay? If you're going to churn up that much time on the clock, you've got to get touchdowns. Patriots have to be better in the red zone. And number 6, finally, if the Patriots are going to be better than I think they're going to be, they need Christian Gonzalez to be a stud. Danny, turn the music back up. What happened? There we go. Thank you. Well, I couldn't hear it in my headphones. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to come down on Danny. That's a little too loud. Thank you very much. So Christian Gonzalez needs to be a stud. If this team is going to have the elite defense that I want them to have, that I think they need to have, Christian Gonzalez needs to be better than he was in the preseason. Because if Christian Gonzalez, who you drafted in the first round, number 17 overall, if he can be a guy you can leave on an island and play one-on-one, then Bill Belichick, the defensive guru that he is, now has a zillion more things he can do with that defense. He can get much more creative if Christian Gonzalez can be a guy that he leaves on an island. I saw Sauce Gardner last year be a first-round pick as a rookie who shut people down. I saw Tariq Woolen be a 5th or a 6th-round pick for the Seahawks last year, be a guy who could shut people down. Young DBs can come in and make an impact, and they can be game changers for your defense. If Christian Gonzalez can be really good, then he can be a game changer for the Patriots defense. Those are the things. If we look back on January 15th at the regular season and say, you know, the Patriots really, really played better than we thought they were going to. Those 6 things, all or most of them, will have happened. Got to be better in the red zone. Zeke's got to be healthy. The team's got to be healthy. Gonzalez has to be good. The defense has to be studly. And Bill O'Brien has to be the answer to all the offensive woes from a year ago. Will over in Plattsburgh says they need a playmaker. They don't have one. Thank you very much, Will. Thank you for joining our TED Talk here on the Patriots. We've been saying that for months. This was a game of optimism, not realism. Okay? We were saying if the Patriots are going to be better, this needs to happen. Remember I always say with the Red Sox, if, and if never happens? Well, what if did happen? Those things I just gave, those 6 would be the ifs. It's not likely that it's all going to happen, but it will need to if the Pats are going to make a run here, a serious run this season. It's the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com. Our 6-pack of NFL questions comes up at about 6:05. Freddie Coleman of ESPN Radio at about 6:20. I have one real non-football thing to talk about today, and that involves a continuation of our discussion yesterday on UVM men's basketball releasing their non-conference schedule. I got some pushback. Some of you raised some good points. I'll counter those points next on DEV.
Friday night, it's McGee Hyundai of Barrie Super Friday at Thunder Road with added purse events for the late models and Tigers, the 2023 championship deciding race for the street stocks, and a $300 to win Road Warrior Showdown. Adult admission $15. Kids age 6 to 12, $5. The family fare, 2 adults, 2 kids, just $30. Kids 5 and under free. Super Friday night at the nation's site of excitement. Thunder Road, Quarry Hill, Barrie. Post time 7 o'clock.
Air Auto Service, located at 34 Maple Avenue in Barrie, Vermont, have recovered from the flood and are now open for normal hours. Kathy and Davis Air are happy to help you with all your mechanical needs for your vehicles. The Air family also wants to encourage everyone to come on downtown and support the local businesses as they reopen from the flood. We can all recover from this tragedy together. Set up an appointment today. Give them a call at 802-461-4503. That's 802-461-4503.
Waterbury invites you to think local, buy local, and be local by experiencing our many recreational opportunities with something for everyone in your group. You can hike, bike, walk, run, paddle, skate, and stroll, and even swim in Waterbury. Between the Perry Hill Bike Trails, Little River State Park, and Waterbury Reservoir, There's year-round fun for all levels. Get outside and start your next active adventure. Our small businesses and colorful mix of restaurants have everything you need to create an unforgettable experience. Even your dog will have a great time. Black Cap Coffee and Bakery of Vermont is now open in the historic Waterbury train station. Black Cap is the new place for lunch and for gatherings in Waterbury. Open daily with made in-house pastries and sandwiches for breakfast and lunch. Stop by on your way to or from any hike or bike ride or for a central meeting location. Black Cap Coffee and Bakery is a great place to eat, meet, and work now in the Waterbury train station and in Burlington, Stowe, and Morrisville. Visit blackcapvermont.com for more information.
The Capital City concert season opened with a flood relief concert by renowned pianist Jeffrey Chappell, one of the most beloved performers in the series' history. Friday night, September 8th at the Barrie Opera House. All ticket proceeds to benefit flood victims. Let's fill the Opera House and share the healing power of music and raise much-needed funds. Tickets start at just $5. Go to capitalcityconcerts.org.
The WDEV studio is sponsored by Sticks and Stuff and Swanton Lumber, Vermont's largest independent home center, powered by Marvin Doors and Windows. Go to sticksandstuff.com for store locations and hours.
Local businesses advertise with WDEV because they get results.
We've done a broad selection of other stations, and DEV kind of represents an interesting niche. It's been one of our better producing stations. DEV has a dedicated and responsive audience, so as an advertiser, there's not much more you can ask for. Paul LaShore from Green Mountain Solar.
Interested in advertising on WDEV? Contact us at WDEV@radiovermont.com.
Think you know sports better than Brady does? Text in with your thoughts at 802-585-3026.
Now it's back to the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
Welcome back in, Brady Farkas Show, right here on WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com. First six-pack of NFL questions will come up at about 6:05, but I briefly, in this non-football segment, want to just finish up my conversation on UVM men's basketball from yesterday. Okay, the non-conference schedule in full came out yesterday. The non-conference schedule, in my opinion, overall is fine. The tournament in Myrtle Beach is good. On the road at Toledo is good. On the road at Virginia Tech is good. I think there are some winnable games in there. What I complained about yesterday was I hate the home non-conference schedule, okay? You've got 8 non-conference home dates. 2 of them are scrimmages. They mean nothing to me. And 2 of them are Division III games against Plattsburgh State and Vermont State University Johnson, who I still want to call NVU Johnson, who I still want to call Johnson State. I will not get used to calling it VSU Johnson, so whoever. They're playing Johnson State coming up in this season as well. That also means nothing to me. I saw people on both sides of the argument yesterday on my social media channels, right? There were some people who said, Brady, the non-conference schedule is comparable to the rest of the America East, and it's perfectly fair, and it's in line with what they've done the last couple of years. And I saw other people who said, Brady, you're absolutely right. It's garbage. I don't want to have to pay for these games in my season ticket packages. I hate these games. Why are they not playing real teams? I saw both of you on my social media channels. To the people who told me that this non-conference schedule, especially the home schedule, is largely on par with the rest of the America East, so what? But so what? Okay, UVM shouldn't want to be on par with the rest of the conference. UVM should want to be doing what it can to stay above the fold, to stay above the conference. Look, if you don't want to move conferences, if you can't even finish your arena yet, what can you do to separate yourself from the conference opponents that you have currently? Okay, I thought UVM wanted to become a power, at least in the America East, right? They don't want to move to the Big East, the Atlantic 10, all the other stuff that people have talked about for years. That's fine with me. So what are they going to do? Well, we got to figure out a way to be the best program we can be in the AE. Okay, let's get a great arena and a great facility. We don't have that yet. So if we don't have that, what can you be doing that's different to stand out? Well, you could be making yourself a better schedule. You could pay some opponents to come here. You could give me better than Vermont State University Johnson and Plattsburgh State in the same calendar year, in the same span of 3 weeks. I don't need that, nor I want that. Okay, I mocked mercilessly last year Bryant. Okay, Bryant, remember them? They came in with all this bluster from the Northeast Conference, and they were going to win the league, and, man, they were blowing everybody out in non-conference, and, man, look how good they were going to be. You know who they played in their non-conference last year? They played some D3 school out of Maine and won like 140-20, and everyone was like, whoa, look how great Brian is. And you know what I did? I mocked them for not playing any real challengers. And you know what UVM's doing this year? Not playing enough real challengers in the non-conference. They're doing the same thing, essentially, that Brian did a year ago. Okay, these 2 Division III games do nothing for me. 2 scrimmages don't tell me that those are 2 home games that I have to buy in my season ticket package, that you have to pay for in your season ticket package. Okay, don't tell me that other teams are doing this exact same thing, because I don't care. UVM should be finding any way they can to stick out above the fold. If you're not going to ditch the conference, figure out a way to make your situation the best in this conference. Pay somebody to come here. I had a guy message me yesterday and say, Brady, what about a 2-for-1 agreement where you go and you'll go to UMass twice if they'll come here once. You'll go to Rhode Island twice if they'll come here once. There's got to be some creativity in this from the administration, and there doesn't appear to be. And there doesn't appear to be a desire to take it to the next level. They appeared, perfectly honest, UVM administration appears to be perfectly fine sitting back, just winning the conference, not challenging themselves as much as they can, and saving as much money as possible. Maybe not as much about not challenging themselves. They did that last year. That's not fair. But they appear to be perfect. Well, let's just win the league. Let's just go through the league. Let's just do that. Let's get to the tournament as a 15 seed, and let's save as much money as possible in the process. We're not going to pay someone to come here. We don't want to pay to go anywhere. We want regional games against D3 teams now. I have no interest in that. I saw someone tell me, Brady, playing Division III teams is actually better than playing bad Division I teams because the D3 opponents don't negatively affect your net rankings come tournament time. I will give this person credit. This person is smart. This person is probably right in that. That's a perfectly fair argument. But come on. I'm looking out for the fans here. I get it. The goal is to get to the tournament. I want to get to the tournament just as bad as everybody else does. I don't want to be worried in my scheduling about having to protect my net rankings. Way too much math for me. I want good games at home in Patrick Gym. At the very least, I want Division I games. Right? They're going to beat Plattsburgh State by 30. They're going to beat Vermont State University Johnson by 57. Okay, I don't need to see that. You want to bring in a D1 team like St. Francis or Central Connecticut that you could beat by 24? Then do it. I don't care. I want to see Division I teams, guys who are on scholarship, not guys that are playing at Plattsburgh State. No offense, and I like the Suniac and I like Plattsburgh, but I don't have interest in these games. Oh, you got to protect your net rankings. No. You know what UVM needs to do? UVM needs to go 15-1 and 16-0 in their league. They need to play some good games like the Virginia Tech game, Toledo game, and try to win those. And you know what? They'll be fine when it comes tournament time if they can do that. They'll get the 13 seed that they're used to getting, and they'll have an outside chance at a victory. I don't need to protect my net rankings when it comes to, do we have to play a D3 team or not? And then finally, Danny doesn't like the schedule at all. He told me after the show, I don't like it, period, because there's no Kansas, Duke, or Kentucky on this. He's right about that, right? We're used to seeing Kansas. We're used to seeing Duke. We're used to seeing Kentucky, UCLA, last year, USC. I think the schedule is better than Danny gives it credit for, okay? I think there are some nice non-league games there that are winnable. They could beat a Virginia Tech. They could beat Toledo. If they can do that, they will help themselves come tournament time, like a few years ago when they beat St. John's. I'm okay with the schedule overall. I don't need them to go get blasted by Duke by 30 just to say they did it. They've got some winnable games in there. I'm appreciative of that. They're still on the road. They're still taking on some bigger conference teams, taking on teams that went to the tournament and or won their league last year. I don't have a problem with the non-conference schedule as a whole. I love the Myrtle Beach tournament. What I hate is the home schedule. It's absolutely ridiculous, and it's disappointing for fans. And it's disappointing the administration won't go out of its way to make it better for the fans. You've got some comments on this. I'll take your texts after CBS News and our six-pack of NFL questions next on DEV.
96.1 WDEV FM Warren, 96.5 W243 AT Barrie, 98.3 W252 CU Montpelier, AM 550 WDEV Waterbury.
This is CBS News on the Hour, presented by Indeed.com.
I'm Monica Ricks in New York. More than 80 million Americans are baking under more heat alerts today, with more than 60 cities breaking temperature records. CBS's Skylar Henry's got the latest.
This week, districts in at least 9 states had to close or dismiss students early. At the U.S. Open in New York, competition is underway with temperatures that feel like 100 degrees. Wednesday, tennis player Daniil Medvedev outlasted his opponent, but warned about the dangerous heat.
One player gonna die.
In Texas, officials are asking residents to use electricity sparingly after the state's power grid was pushed to its limits.
Fort Worth, Texas, and Roswell, New Mexico both hit 105 degrees today. Hurricane Lee has exploded in the last 24 hours. It is now a massive Category 4 storm, packing about 160 mile-an-hour winds. The National Hurricane Center says it's not expected to hit the U.S. directly, but it will kick up the surf in the Caribbean and cause dangerous surf conditions on beaches along the East Coast by Sunday. In Washington, former Trump White House advisor Peter Navarro was found guilty of contempt of Congress for ignoring a subpoena last year from the House Select Committee investigating January 6. Navarro's not happy about it. He claimed he was protected by executive privilege.
A senior White House advisor, an alter ego of the president, has ever been charged with the alleged crime.
Because you lied.
That's the first time that this has ever happened.
He is set to be sentenced in January. That 70 Show's star Danny Masterson got 30 years to life today when he was sentenced for raping 2 women in Los Angeles. Deputy District Attorney Reinhold Mueller.
I have to say that I'm extremely proud of the named victims in this case for coming forward, for enduring the long time that it took to get to justice.
Defense attorneys say they plan to appeal the sentence. Police in Southern California are investigating a hit-and-run crash after a video was posted to TMZ, allegedly showing an actor leaving it.
Sir! You hit my car!
The Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department says when deputies arrived on the scene, they were told Gary Busey drove off without providing documents. Busey was heard saying, "Progressive Insurance," and "I'm private."
That's CBS's Linda Kenyon reporting.
Drinking watermelon moonshine.
Lainey Wilson led today's CMA Award nominations, the country singer snagging 9 nods, making her the first performer in CMA Awards history to lead the list in her first 2 appearances on the ballot. She got 6 last year. The award show is set for November. This is CBS News.
When you think of hiring, think of Indeed. Their end-to-end hiring system helps you attract, interview, and hire candidates all in the same place. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Hi, I'm Bob Lake, CEO of Green Mountain Credit Union. We're proudly member-owned, which means what you deposit, we invest in your neighbors, friends, family, and small businesses that are essential to our community. And all interest and deposits made go right back to our members. Continuing our philosophy of people helping people, Green Mountain Credit Union's old school lending with 21st century technology. I invite you to stop by one of our locations in South Burlington, Rutland, or Berlin, or find us at greenmountaincu.com.
As a teacher, there's nothing more rewarding than watching kids grow through music. And it's a lot more than seeing them learn an instrument. I see them grow as people, building self-confidence and often forging friendships that last a lifetime. And like so many other music teachers, I've had Ellis Music beside me my whole career. A local and family-owned business, Ellis Music rents and sells only high-quality instruments recommended by teachers. And that's been their commitment for over 75 years. With an extensive selection of student models at affordable prices, discovering the instrument that your child will love is easy and flexible. Ellis Music offers month-to-month rental, as well as their rent-to-own program, which includes worry-free maintenance and repair. If you'd like to bring the magic of music to your child's life, just visit ellismusic.com.
The NFL is back, and WDEV is once again your home for New England Patriots football. The 6-time Super Bowl champion New England Patriots take on the NFC champion Philadelphia Eagles this Sunday at 4:25. Patriots football on WDEV is sponsored by Matt Clark's Northern Basement Systems. For all things basement-y, visit northernbasements.com. And by Quick Lane Tire and Auto Center on Route 15 in Hardwick, your go-to place for routine auto maintenance. New England Patriots football this Sunday at 4:25 on WDEV AM and FM.
Your chance to be part of the show is on the text line at 802-585-3026.
Now it's back to the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
Welcome back in, Brady Farkas Show, right here on WDEV, AM and FM, WDEVradio.com. My guy Kevin says, Brady, you are 100% right on UVM basketball. Scheduling those D3 teams doesn't do anything for them. They should at least schedule home and home with a Division I school. Cornell or Rhode Island would be a great home and home. Look, and I get, and I want to make sure, and I made this clear yesterday, I want to make sure it's clear again today. I am not mad at the UVM coaching staff for this. Okay, I believe they have one hand tied behind their back right now by the administration for a couple of different reasons. So I get it that let's back up. Last year, the team had an incredibly challenging schedule. John Becker told this show he doesn't want to have that challenging of a schedule again. He would like the student athletes to be in class more. He would like guys to be able to play at home more. He would like more home games for the fans. So he did not want to replicate last year's schedule. And by the way, they didn't play very good last year in the early going. They started out like 1-7, remember, right? So Becker said, we want something that's more doable for our players. So they want more home games. And I get it. There are teams that don't want to come here, right? Burlington's a tough place to play. It's a hard place to get, and they very well might lose. So it's not easy to just call up somebody and say, hey, want to come play? So then you have to get creative. And that's where I think the administration is not helping them be creative. They're not giving Becker a budget saying, hey, okay, we can go out and get one bye game. We will pay UMass to come here. We will pay Rhode Island to come here. We will pay a good team to come here, where if they lose, at least they get money out of it. If they win, they win. If they lose, they get money. Win-win for them. Okay? They're not being creative enough to go out and get a bad team in here. Hey, let's bring in Central Connecticut State to get beat by 35, one of the worst teams in Division I, and we'll pay them some money, and they won't care that they lost because they got funded out of it. That doesn't appear to be happening. And that bothers me that we're just left with this scenario where we can't do what we did a year ago. We can't go out and play. We can't pay people to come here. We're just left with Plattsburgh State and Vermont State University Johnson. Will in Plattsburgh says, I love Plattsburgh, but playing the Cats seems silly. It's not silly at all for them. I mean, think about this. Danny, this is a giant win for the D3 teams. I have no problem with Plattsburgh wanting to play UVM. I have a problem with UVM being forced into playing Plattsburgh. I mean, think about this if you're Plattsburgh scenario. The D3 season doesn't even start until around Thanksgiving. So Plattsburgh's going to get a scrimmage in against UVM like 3 weeks before their season starts. This is in UVM's regular season. This is Plattsburgh's preseason. So it's a great chance for them to get out on the court, to play another team, and to get their guys some run. It's a great opportunity for their alumni base to get engaged. It's a great opportunity in recruiting visits at D3 to say, hey, you know what? You got a chance to play D1 teams here, right? Like when John Becker goes to recruit, he can sell it as, oh, you're going to play Duke, you're going to play Kansas, you're going to play in the tournament. Well, now the Plattsburgh coaching staff can say, hey, you're going to get a chance to play D1 competition potentially here. It's a total win for Plattsburgh. It's not a win for UVM. We got our six-pack of NFL questions here momentarily. Danny, do I have time to go down the rabbit hole on a quick story with you? And it's for everybody, but I haven't told you this story yet. So I got in trouble the other day, heckled mercilessly within a fantasy baseball league that I'm in. And I don't want to be fantasy guy. I'm not going to talk to you about, fantasy strategy and things like that. I hate people that do that. But let me just give you a quick background on this. There is a listener who has listened to my shows for a while. Good guy. I won't give out his name, but good guy. He recruited me into a fantasy baseball league a couple of years ago, going into last year. And it's a very serious league. It's actually the most serious fantasy league I've ever been in. It's really complicated. It's really expensive to be a part of. It's $250. It's the most expensive league that I'm in. And it's got really, really specific rules. It's a keeper league, and your players have contracts, and you can't easily drop them, and you're bound to these guys. So, if you have a pitcher for a 4-year contract, and then he gets Tommy John surgery, and you're basically stuck with him not doing anything for 2 of those 4 years, and it really hurts your roster. So I inherited a really bad team, like a horrible team last year with a really bad contract situation where I had like 7 guys that are just wasting roster spots. So this year, and I knew it was a hefty rebuild. This year, my team going into the second to last week of the season had not won a game. 0-20 in the fantasy baseball season. So clearly going to finish last. I knew that going in, I was probably going to finish last, but clearly going to finish last now and rebuild for next year. And next year, my contract situation gets better, whatever. So I've kind of always been playing for next year. I tried this year. I did what I could, but my hands were bound by how bad my team was in my roster situation. So we get into the last week of the regular season, week 22. I finally won one in week 21, my first win of the year. Week 22, I have a chance to play spoiler in the playoff race. And I've been losing like 10-1, 11-0, 9-2 all year long. Because like I'm playing with guys, like I can't drop guys. I got injured guys in my starting lineup because I can't drop them because of their contract situation. I got prospects in there that I can't, I'm building for the future, but like they're in my starting lineup. So I'm getting killed every week. Finally, some things are going my way where I get some roster flexibility at the very end of the season because I've made some moves and I've traded some guys, whatever. And one of the guys in the league messages me and says, hey, man, I really need you to try this week because if you beat so-and-so, then I got a chance to get to the playoffs. So I'm like, all right, I've been trying all along. I just hadn't really been able to do anything. So now I got a little bit of flexibility to go out and do some things. So I'm like, yeah, why not? Like I will give this a go. Like I want to play it straight up. I'd like to win. I'm not costing myself draft position. I've already 85 games under 500. What does it matter? So I pick up a pitcher here and I drop a pitcher there, and this guy's injured. So now I'm able to move off him and I pick up this guy. So we get to the last day of the regular season, and I'm winning against this guy 6-3. This guy needs to lose to me by like 6-5 or beat me to get to the playoffs. I'm beating him 6-3, and he is just going off on me. Going off. We have a group chat. I've never met this guy. The only person I know in this league actually is the one listener who recruited me. I think they're all kind of buddies, but I only know the one. So he's going off of me in the group chat. He's like, I can't believe you did this. Show me any other week of the year where you tried to win. Everybody else gets to beat you 11-0. And here I am now, and you're going to beat me because you picked up this pitcher and that pitcher, and you played that week with an injured shortstop, but this week you got a real shortstop. And man, he's calling me names. He's swearing at me. And I'm like, buddy, you've had 20 weeks to put yourself in a better position than being in 7th place. Top 6 make the playoffs. I'm like, do not get mad at me for this. And he's like, you're only doing this because he reached out to you, and you're like, you look really bad. It's really bad for the league. I'm like, pal, I've tried every week this season. I've made almost as many moves as everybody else in this league, except I haven't been able to do anything significant because my situation is so bad. I'm like, the rules of which you helped create, because you're a partial commissioner in this league, the rules that you helped create have bound me to having this horrible team that I am stuck with in a real major league style rebuild here where it's going to be 5 years before I have a chance of being good. Like, this is $250 a year every year for at least 3 years before I'm any good that I'm going to throw away. Trust me, I'm not out here looking to just go and tank the season, which is what this guy, and now I don't. Like, pal, you have 4 of the best players in the league. I still have 3 injured players in my starting lineup. I have 2 guys that got called up from the minors that I missed getting called up, and I missed out on 8 like perfect innings thrown from. Like, you had your chance. Like, you had your chance to beat me, and you didn't. I do not need your name calling. And then I told this dude he could call into the show if we want. I'm like, look, we never met. I'm like, I'm not going to take your keyboard warriorness in this group chat. You want to call in and you want to yell at me man to man about fantasy baseball, and you want to get out your temper tantrum, go right ahead. I'll take it. I'll do it. We'll do this thing on the air. I'm like, just don't swear at me on the air like you've been swearing at me in this text thread. But I'm not in 8th grade, so I don't need your name calling here. Like, I paid $250. I've tried to win. My team couldn't win the rest of the year. I had a chance to win the last week. I went for it. Have I done anything wrong here, Danny, or is this guy just a sore loser?
Now, is there any advantage to tanking if there were to be actual tanking?
I mean, the advantage would be, so if you finish last, it's kind of like, again, this is a very complex league. It's kind of like the old NBA draft. If you finish last, you have the best chance to get the number 1 pick. It doesn't guarantee you getting the number 1 pick. You just have the best chance. You get the most ping pong balls, essentially.
So like the
for
NBA
the number
lottery.
1 for the number 1 pick. I don't know that I'm going to get the number 1 pick, but I finished last by a wide margin. But trust me, I wasn't tanking. I don't know about this guy's financial situation, but this is radio. $250 just being thrown out so I can waste 24 weeks of my life on fantasy baseball is not in the cards for me. If I'm paying $250, I'd like to win or at least be close enough to get in the money. It was not my design to finish 12th in this league and be 85 games under 500, just like I was 85 games under 500 last year. Next year, when I have a chance finally to be good in this league, I'm going to go for it again. I wasn't tanking for the number 1 pick. I wanted to be good. My team just wasn't capable of being good because of these league rules. But even if I did tank, it's my business on how I can handle my team. And if I want to tank 20 weeks and go after this one in this week, so be it. Tough blank. Finish better than 7th. You had 20 weeks to get yourself in the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, or 5th, or 6th spot and not need to be sweat out a week against me. I didn't need his name calling.
Sounds fair to me.
Exactly. And of course, here, I gave him his chance to call in. I even wrote in the group chat, hey, tough guy. Well, I didn't say, hey, tough guy. Now I'm saying, hey, tough guy. I wrote in the group chat, hey, you want to call in? Thursday at 6:10. I'm going to be talking about it. It's now 6:16. He hasn't called in. We're moving on. 802-585-3026. NFL season begins tonight. Week 1. Chiefs, Lions, Travis Kelce not going to play in this game. That news just came out moments ago. Freddie Coleman of ESPN Radio is going to join us in about 15 minutes. I want to get to our 6-pack of NFL questions, our first 6-pack of NFL questions. We preview the league. We preview the weekend. We usually do this on Fridays, but because we have a shorter show tomorrow, we're doing it today. Week 1, 6-pack of NFL questions. Danny, cue the music. All right, first question here on the 6-pack of NFL questions. Danny, give me the big voice guy. What do we got?
The best game of the NFL weekend is...
Best game of the NFL weekend. This is going to be Dolphins at Chargers. Okay, and this is good for a lot of reasons, okay? This is an East Coast team going west. That can be tough. This is Justin Herbert against Tua, 2 guys that were drafted right back-to-back from each other in the draft, I think in the COVID year, 2020. You got a guy in Justin Herbert who just got paid, who now has to live up to the pressure of getting paid. You got a guy in Tua who hasn't been paid yet, who hasn't been given the long-term security, who's fighting for his NFL future. So you've got 2 teams that went to the playoffs last year. Remember, the Dolphins went to the playoffs, got beat by Buffalo. Chargers went to the playoffs, inexplicably choked against Jacksonville. So 2 playoff teams, 2 teams that figure to be in the playoff mix again in the AFC this year, 2 quarterbacks that were drafted in the same year, and 1 quarterback that's been paid and 1 quarterback that hasn't. Their storylines abound, and oh, by the way, these 2 teams' profile will be pretty darn good. Okay, Dolphins are an explosive offense. Okay, they were tied for the most completions of 50 yards or more last year, 8. They probably would have had more if Tua didn't get hurt with the concussion problems, right? He got hurt, I think, on Christmas Day Christmas Eve, Christmas Day against the Green Bay Packers. So if Tua doesn't get hurt, then they probably lead at 50-yard passes or more. They are explosive with Tyreek Hill and with Jalen Waddle. Okay, Tua first in completion percentage, first in yards per attempt for Tua last year. Okay, at least 15 yards down the field. He converted a first down 57 times last year, at least 15 yards down the field. This team, we think of Tua as kind of this dink and dunk quarterback. Not the case at all. He's got explosive playmakers. And oh, by the way, Herbert, he's a stud. He's thrown for the most yards the first 3 years of a player's career in NFL history. 94 touchdowns for Herbert in 3 years. That's second most through a player's first 3 years in NFL history, behind only Dan Marino. This is going to be a dynamite matchup. I don't know what the weather is going to look like in Los Angeles, but I got to imagine it's going to be pretty darn toasty. Now, they got the dome there, so whatever. But I imagine it's going to be a fast, fun matchup there in L.A. for Dolphins-Chargers, 2 playoff teams from a year ago. Danny, number 2.
The game that intrigues us most is...
The game that intrigues me most is the game we're going to see tonight. Lions-Chiefs. Because we usually do this on Friday, I don't usually break down the Thursday night game as part of the 6-pack of NFL questions. Today, we have an opportunity to do it, and I'm taking it. Lions-Chiefs is the most intriguing. One, for the Chiefs' perspective, they're the defending champions. We always wonder how the defending champs are going to come out. Do they have a Super Bowl hangover? Now, I would say that's probably not the case because you got a head coach that's been there in Andy Reid. You got a quarterback that's done that in Patrick Mahomes. So I don't think there's going to be a hangover, but you always wonder. Banner ceremony, we're reliving last year, highlight montage. Do the Chiefs come out and start slow? Do they get punched in the mouth and they're 0-1 and all of a sudden everyone's wondering if the sky is falling? Again, I don't think that's the case, but that's the Chiefs' perspective. They also don't have Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce is their most dynamic offensive player, not named Patrick Mahomes. They don't have Chris Jones, one of their most dynamic defensive players, probably their biggest defensive disruptor on the defensive line. So you're missing two of your best players, not named Mahomes, for Kansas City. How do you come out and handle that? And for the Lions, I mean, look, this is their coming out party. This is supposed to be their coming out party. Think about what we saw for Deion Sanders in Colorado football and college football this weekend, right? Deion comes in with a lot of bluster, a lot of hype. If Colorado loses that game, everybody mocks him, forgets about him, and says, okay, they weren't ready for prime time. Deion wins that game, it's all aboard the Colorado hype train. That's the Lions this week. The Lions last year, whatever, I forget what they started, but I know where they ended. Where they ended was one game out of the playoffs. Where they ended was beating Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay, ending his Green Bay tenure on a loss on Sunday Night Football. Where Jared Goff ended the season is a guy who wasn't being replaced in Detroit, is maybe a guy that you're going to extend in Detroit. The Lions are the darlings of this NFL season. If they come out today and beat the Kansas City Chiefs, they will announce their presence a la Coach Prime, a la Colorado. If they come out and get beat 40-10, people are going to be saying, okay, I guess they're not as good as we thought they were. I guess they're not ready for prime time. Lions do have a lot of weapons, right? They got Pro Bowlers Penei Sewell on the offensive line and Frank Ragnow on the offensive line. They averaged the 5th most points per game last year at 25.7. They've added a physical running back in Jahmyr Gibbs. They've added a touchdown vulture in David Montgomery. They've got Amon-Ra St. Brown healthy. Jared Goff did look good at the end of the year. They won 8 of their final 10 games last season. They got a chance to fully announce their presence tonight against the Kansas City Chiefs. Danny?
The bar rescue game of the week is...
Okay, bar rescue game of the week. This is the game that's the worst game of the week. Okay, Danny, are you familiar with what the bar rescue game of the week means?
Not exactly, no.
Okay, so have you ever seen the show Bar Rescue before? Have you heard of it before?
I've heard of it. I've not seen it.
Okay, so John Tapper is this guy who's a bar professional. He goes into failing bars that are, downtrodden, not doing good business, and he fixes them up, right? He turns them from dumps to moneymakers, and they go from looking terrible to looking beautiful. Well, every Sunday for years, there was a bar rescue marathon on the Spike Channel, and then I think it was Paramount, whatever it's called. And I would just sit for hours and watch Bar Rescue. And you'd be hungover as hell, and you'd be watching Bar Rescue. You'd be hungover as hell, you'd be watching other people be hungover as hell. It was great television, great theater. And the Bar Rescue game of the week signifies I would rather be watching that than watch this game. And the worst game of the NFL week this week, Cardinals at Commanders. No, thank you. You could not pay me enough to watch Cardinals and Commanders this year. What the hell is going on in Arizona? Their head coach, Jonathan Gannon, won't announce who the starting quarterback is. They clearly are tanking. They're not playing. Kyler Murray got hurt. Remember, he tore his ACL against the Patriots last year. He's not ready to go, but they've got Josh Dobbs, who they acquired a week ago. They got somebody, Toon or something. I can't even name the quarterbacks the Cardinals might go between right now. This is a Cardinals team that was in the playoffs 2 years ago. They were the last unbeaten team in the league 2 years ago. We're talking about Kyler Murray maybe being an MVP guy. Kyler Murray getting a long-term contract. The Cardinals getting DeAndre Hopkins. And now the Cardinals look like a team. I saw their over-under was 4.5 today. Some NFL insiders said, I think they're going under. Who picks the under on a team that's 4.5 in the NFL? This guy did because he thinks the Cardinals are that bad. Inexperienced head coach, quarterback that we don't know who it is, and then the Commanders, I mean, at least this year now under new ownership, they look like a viable NFL franchise. I'm mildly excited to see Sam Howell get into his action, the old quarterback at North Carolina, who was the 2nd or 3rd round pick last year. He's going to take over the job, but I like Terry McLaurin. There's Chase Young. Like, there are guys there on Washington that I'm kind of interested in, but by and large, I have no interest in the Cardinals and the Commanders. Absolutely zero. This is the Bar Rescue game of the week. Watch anything but this. Danny.
The player we want to watch most this week is...
Okay, I'm picking a cop-out in this one. This will be the only time all season that I do this. I'm taking 2 players this week. For week 1, the week 1 special. Player I want to watch most this week is Justin Fields and Jordan Love. They're both playing against each other. Packers at Bears is the matchup. Jordan Love at Justin Fields is the quarterback matchup. These are 2 guys now with a lot to prove. Jordan Love is also fighting for his NFL career, right? Mac Jones is fighting for his NFL career. Daniel Jones fought for his NFL career a year ago. Jordan Love is fighting for his NFL career also. This team drafted him in the first round. He sat for 3 years. He's now taking over for a Hall of Famer in Aaron Rodgers. He wants to know, are you going to pick up my 5th-year option? He wants to know, are you going to give me a long-term deal, or is he going to become the Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold cast off with Teddy Bridgewater, who just bounces around into someone's backup? He's got 1 year to prove himself. That's the scenario. He looked pretty good in the preseason. He doesn't have a ton of help right now offensively. His most experienced receivers are a second-year pro named Romeo Doubs and Christian Watson. They've got a rookie as their 3rd wide receiver. They still have Aaron Jones there, who we like. Still have A.J. Dillon there, so he does have some help there. Defense for Green Bay, I think, profiles to be okay. But Jordan Love, this is a guy who can come out and win 8-9 games in a bad NFC and really assert himself. Or he could win 5 and his career could go the other way. Justin Fields, he's been at the bottom. People are ready for him to make the next step. People are ready for him to take it to the top. Can he get there? For years, it was the Bears don't have an offensive line. Now they've invested in the offensive line. For years, it was they don't have any weapons. Well, they got Chase Claypool, and they got Mooney, and they've gone out and made some moves in the draft. And they've got a coach now who's been in for a year, and his system's there. Both quarterbacks are in the same division. Both quarterbacks have pressure. Different kind of pressure, but they both have pressure. Bears hosting the Packers. Jordan Love, Justin Fields. These are the 2 guys that I want to see. Justin Fields last year had to run the ball. He ran over 1,000 yards last year. Can he do it as a passer? We saw him look pretty good on Monday night against New England last year. Can he do that for 17 games? Danny.
The player with the most pressure this week is...
Russell Wilson. There's a lot of players with pressure. Russell Wilson has the most. Okay? The Broncos are hosting the Raiders. It's a divisional matchup for them at home. Russell Wilson has been called fake this offseason. He's been called inauthentic. He's been called over the hill. He's remade his body in an effort to not be slow and be more elusive. He's had his head coach call him out, and Sean Payton. He's got a new head coach who's not indebted to him, a new head coach that didn't bring him here. I mean, the guy they had last year, Nathaniel Hackett, he was married to Russell Wilson. Sean Payton isn't. Sean Payton is a Super Bowl winning head coach. Sean Payton is a guy who's been to multiple NFC title games. Sean Payton is a guy who, if he can't fix you, you just can't be fixed. That's kind of the word on the street. If he can't fix you, you can't be fixed. I look at let me see, I had this stat here. Sean Payton's Saints team over 15 years averaged 28 points a game. Russell Wilson last year with the Broncos, last in the NFL, 17 points a game. Are we closer to the Sean Payton average, or are we closer to the recency bias that was last year's Russell Wilson team? I don't know. But Russell Wilson's the guy with the most pressure. Max got pressure. Bryce Young's got pressure. A lot of guys got pressure. No one has more pressure than Russ because he also is fighting for his NFL future and his NFL reputation. Sean Payton owes Russell Wilson nothing. Russell Wilson is over 30 years old. Russell Wilson was said to be on the back 9 when the Seahawks traded him. He thinks he's an MVP Hall of Fame caliber guy. He probably is a Hall of Famer no matter what. But he's not. He's a lot closer right now to being 32nd quarterback in the league than he is MVP. Which Russell Wilson shows up? Can Sean Payton fix him? And how do the Broncos look? Because the Broncos are one of those swing teams in the AFC, right? We've said, the Patriots might be better than Cleveland. They might be better than Denver. They might be better than Tennessee. If Russ is good, they're not better than Denver. If Russ is last year's Russ, Patriots got a chance to be above them. Danny, question 6, 6-pack of questions.
The most amazing NFL stat of the weekend is...
I found 3 stats heading into week 1 that blew my mind. Once again, I will probably only choose one moving forward, but 3 stats blew my mind. 1, the Ravens receiving core last year only had 1,500 yards last season. That was fewest in the NFL. That was the fewest combined yards by a wide receiver group in a season since the Ravens did it in 2019. Well, finally, the Ravens have addressed their wide receiver room. They've given Lamar Jackson real wide receiver talent. It's no longer just Lamar and Mark Andrews in a run game. It's now Odell Beckham. It's now Zay Flowers and Lamar and Mark Andrews. So if the Ravens have been this good without any real threats at wideout, imagine what they could do with OBJ and with Zay Flowers. Stat number 2, excuse me, I mentioned the Lions being one of the darlings of this NFL season. The Jaguars are the other darling of this NFL season. I saw Colin Cowherd say he thinks they're like one step away from being able to get to the Super Bowl. Well, in the second half of 2022, Trevor Lawrence was an all-pro quarterback. Okay, his quarterback rating jumped nearly 20 points in the second half. His completion percentage rose nearly 8 points in the second half of the season last year. He threw 15 touchdowns and 2 picks in the back half of the year last year, compared to 10 touchdowns and 6 picks in the front half of the year. If Trevor Lawrence is that guy from the second half of the season all season long, the Jags just might be as close as everybody thinks they are. And finally, the last stat that blew my mind. The Cleveland Browns have finished 15 consecutive years with a negative point differential. They have been outscored by their opponents for the last 15 years. That is tied for the longest streak of its kind in NFL history. The Buccaneers, the old Yuccaneers from 1982 to 1996, they've got the record tied with Cleveland. Can Deshaun Watson and company and Nick Chubb, who I still think is the best running back in football, finally give the Browns a positive point differential? It's going to be tough this week against the Cincinnati Bengals and Joe Burrow. Maybe Burrow's rusty, didn't play in the preseason. Last year, I think Burrow threw 5 picks in the season opener against Pittsburgh. So maybe Cleveland can use that to their advantage. But, 15 years in a row, negative scoring differential. That's our 6-pack of NFL questions. We do that every single week here on the Brady Farkas Show. Usually it's on Friday. This week it's on Thursday. Couple of different texters here getting in. Ross says, love how Dan Campbell coaches. Wish the Lions a great season. I love Dan Campbell as well. He's not as buttoned up as people want him to be. He's very collegiate. But for a young team, I think they need that. I think they thrive on that. Joe Richmond says, Cardinals announced the other day Dobbs is starting. That's fine. It doesn't matter who's starting for the Cardinals. Dobbs, Toon, me, you, they are horrible. They appear to want to be horrible, and they want to get into Caleb Williams sweepstakes for next year, or they want to trade the number 1 pick and get a boatload for it. The Cardinals look like they could be the worst team in the league. I think the Colts will be pretty bad, but I think that the Cardinals will be horrible. Texter also says, I want to see if Cincy's revamped offensive line can keep Burrow safe against Myles Garrett and company in Cleveland. We'll see what happens. Texter also says, you did right in fantasy baseball. That kid has sour grapes, period. Thank you very much. Freddie Coleman, ESPN Radio, going to talk Patriots with us. We're getting ready for week 1. We went from the entire NFL to just the Pats, getting ready for the NFC champion Eagles. Freddie Coleman, next on DEV.
Hello, my name is Kelly Elwell, nurse practitioner. I oversee Central Vermont Home Health and Hospice's palliative care program, and I am here to help you. Palliative care at CVHHH helps Central Vermonters living with serious or life-limiting illness, such as cancer, lung or heart disease, and dementia, access the care, resources, and emotional support they need. People who receive palliative care services from CVHHH can continue to receive curative treatments such as chemo and radiation therapy. They do not need to be homebound or be a current CVHHH patient. As a palliative care provider, I am here to help you and your family in patient-centered holistic care. I can help you manage your pain and symptoms in coordination with your existing care team, support you to understand and articulate your goals of care, write an advanced care plan, and connect you with the resources you need. It is my goal to help you maintain your independence and experience the highest possible quality of life. Central Vermont Home Health and Hospice is here for you. I would love the opportunity to support you and your family. Please visit cvhhh.org for more information and to schedule a consultation.
The 18th annual Big Dog Daddy year-end clearance sale is on at Lamoille Valley Ford. That's right, Dan. Because we always have a huge inventory, you'll never have to settle for an ugly vehicle at Lamoille Valley Ford. Now it's that time of year again, with new models coming, that the pressure is on to sell down, and that means you can save. Truck buyers, listen to these awesome new incentives. Right now, on any in-stock F-150, qualified buyers can get 0% financing for 36 months. Or how about this smoking 2-year lease deal? With $4,900 cash or trade plus fees, returning lessees can get a loaded 2023 F-150 Super Cab 4x4 for just $299 per month. Plus, right now at Lamoille Valley Ford, not only will you find the largest selection of new Ford vehicles in Vermont, but we also have a ton of late model, low mileage cars, trucks, and SUVs ready to go. Folks, the bottom line is we need to make room for next year's models, and my entire Lamoille Valley Ford team is ready to do whatever it takes to earn your business.
Woo! You heard Rick. Drive Route 14, 15, or 16 to Hardwick and the Big Dog Daddy year-end clearance sale happening now at Lamoille Valley Ford.
It's that time of year again. Hi, it's Lisa Gravel here. As much as we don't want to hear it, winter is closing in on us. Don't get caught in a storm. Come see me at Route 15 Snowplows located in Hardwick. We have our large line of SnowX products, everything to fit your UTV to skid steers, small pickups to dump trucks. We carry sanders and accessories too. Give me Lisa a call, 472-3776 at Route 15 Snowplows for a quote. Our preseason order is in stock and ready to be installed on your vehicle. Happy plowing.
Hit it! Get ready for the most exciting 90 seconds of your life. Play the Ultimate Dash Instant Ticket from the Vermont Lottery. You could win up to $40,000 instantly. Plus, enter the second chance drawing for a chance to join the Tri-State Ultimate Warehouse Dash. 3 players from Vermont will have 90 seconds to dash through a warehouse full of prizes and take home everything they can grab. There's even a chance to win $1 million. Enter your non-winning Ultimate Dash tickets for your chance to win. Please play responsibly.
Make your opinion heard by texting onto the Brady Farkas Show at 802-585-3026.
This is former NFL wide receiver Keyshawn Johnson, and now we're back to the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV Radio and WDEVradio.com.
Welcome back in. Brady Farkas Show right here on WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com. We are officially in game week for the New England Patriots, taking on the Eagles coming up this Sunday at 4:25. Let's go out to the phone line, break down all things Pats with our guy, Freddie Coleman. No longer Freddie and Fitzsimmons. It's now Freddie and Harry on ESPN Radio. Freddie, congrats on the new show launch earlier this week. How are you?
I'm doing good, my brother. And I can't tell you how happy to have the launch of the show with me and Harry Douglas, and we've had a fantastic time. It's only been a short amount of time that we've been able to do it, but we firmly believe it's going to get better and better and better. As long as I don't get in the way of Harry Douglas, it should be fine. But really appreciate that. We can't wait to see exactly where the show is going to go.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing where it goes as well. You're going to be hanging out with Harry every single weekday, and look forward again to hearing how it goes. All right, Patriots and Eagles. All right, how nervous are you for this matchup for Mac Jones with that Eagles defensive line? I'm pretty nervous for it, Freddie.
Yeah, I don't blame you, because that Eagles defensive line is going to be really, really good. And I know they don't have Javon Hargraves, who moved on to the San Francisco 49ers, but they're going to replace with Jordan Davis, who they drafted last year, and they get Jalen Carter in this year's draft. So all of a sudden, that Eagles defensive line that had 72 sacks last year and led the National Football League in sacks, they may be even better this year, because they have a lot to prove, because they don't want the last thing you saw the Eagles defense, what you saw in the Super Bowl versus Patrick Mahomes. We got that game-winning drive or that game-winning field goal, but he's going to do that to a lot of other teams. So the Eagles shouldn't be ashamed about that. But if you're Mac Jones, if there's any kind of game plan that you can have to nullify that defensive line, it can't just begin and end with him, Brady. You got to be able to have that running game as a compliment. You got to get the ball in his hands quickly. If you're not able to do that, he's going to be seeing the sky a lot, because he's going to be on his back a lot, courtesy of the Eagles defense.
You know, Freddie, it's interesting you say that, because I heard something very, very similar from the crew over at NBC Sports Boston this week about get the ball out of Mac Jones' hands quickly. And that is good for keeping him safe and upright, and that's obviously important. But do you have faith in the Patriots' skill players to be able to break plays on their own? Because if you're going to get rid of the ball quickly, they're going to have to do a lot of the work on their own. Do you trust them to be able to do that?
And no, I don't, because the Eagles will play a lot of press coverage. They won't see too many off coverage. And what I mean by that is guys 5 to 7 yards off the football. That Eagles defense believes they got the cornerbacks and safeties that can play close to the line of scrimmage and wall up on your guys and keep them from having those free releases off the line of scrimmage. So that's why I believe the running game is really imperative and really important for Mac Jones. If you're able to do that, then you got to bring an extra guy down in the box, and that means one-on-one coverage on the outside. And maybe you get that off coverage a little bit where you can find those quick outs, those quick ins, and really relieve that kind of pressure on your quarterback. But if they're not able to win those battles, Brady, or win a lot on first down, it's going to be a long afternoon for the dudes from Foxborough.
Mike Reese of ESPN said yesterday he gave fans some optimism for the Patriots. Look, Eagles, you had all offseason to prepare. Eagles guys didn't play in preseason very much, so they're going to come in a little bit rusty. You're playing at home. Do you think that all he thinks the Patriots can pull the upset? Are you buying what he's selling?
Well, I look at it this way, Brady. In the National Football League, where games are so tough to win week by week, I could see any possibility happening. But if that's going to happen, if all those things are going to break right for the Patriots, then they're going to have to make sure the Eagles have missed assignments, that they're going to have mistakes or mindless penalties. And that Eagles team is too well coached to do that. So even if they play a B game, that should be enough to be a Patriots A game because they're a more talented football team than the New England Patriots. That's not new news here. But it also depends on what the Patriots defense can do, because I still think that defense can be a top 10 defense. If they're able to really kind of bring that pressure on Jalen Hurts, maybe make him move around the pocket a little bit, make him uncomfortable, and get a short field for your offense, then that upset can happen. But the Eagles team is so well coached on both sides of the football. I still think it's going to be a long afternoon. I can see it happening, but I don't believe it's going to happen on Sunday. But when the Eagles beat the Patriots, and the Patriots don't beat them.
Freddie Coleman, ESPN Radio, with us here on the Brady Farkas Show, WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com. Patriots are going to be honoring Tom Brady before this game. Is that a motivating factor for the Pats or a pressure builder for the Pats?
Yes, it's both of those things, Brady. Let's put it that way, because if you're the Patriots and you're celebrating the greatest player, not just in the history of the franchise, but in my opinion, the greatest player in the history of the National Football League. So, yeah, that's all those things you just mentioned. It's going to be there when that happens on Sunday. You're bringing in a guy that didn't want to leave in the first place, but he felt disrespected at a certain point in his career by Bill Belichick. He wanted to go somewhere and have fun playing football. He was able to do that. So this is the king coming back to the castle and telling his loyal subjects, thank you, thank you, thank you. I love to be here. I never wanted to leave in the first place. So all that pageantry and all that pomp and circumstance is going to lead to that kind of emotion, a different kind of emotions, whether you're Bill Belichick, the coach, whether you're Robert Kraft, the owner, whether you're players who played with him or didn't play with him. You know exactly what Tom Brady has meant to the Patriots and what he's meant to the National Football League. So both of the things you said, that is a yes and a yes, because all those things will be prevalent when that happens on Sunday.
Are you surprised the Patriots are honoring TB12 in a tough matchup against the Philadelphia Eagles? I'll never forget this, Freddie. I had a college basketball coach tell me once about a preseason tournament or an early season tournament that was held at their place. They said, you never want to invite teams to the early season tournament that are going to beat you. You always want to win your early season tournament when it's held on your home floor. I think it was a Division II or a Division III coach. Are you surprised they're taking on the Eagles, the defending NFC champions, in this game when they're honoring TB12 as opposed to the Commanders mid-season or something?
Well, not for nothing. It would have been even better if the Patriots honored Tom Brady for a game against the New York Jets, because he really couldn't stand that football team. That would have been even better if that could have happened. But the Patriots realize this. The better way to do this is to get it out of the way early. This way you can focus on the rest of the season. We've had that off-season build-up for Tom Brady, and he deserves that build-up. There's no doubt about that. But I don't think the Patriots want to have that in the middle of the season when you really start getting ready for the football season. You're in the middle of what you could believe could be a playoff run, or maybe trying to carve up a playoff spot, and then having that extra with that. I don't think that would have been good for the New England Patriots. So I clearly understand why they decided to do this opening day and not wait until the middle of the season playing a different opponent. It would not have mattered who the opponent was. I believe they're doing the right thing by doing this early, doing it opening day, have everybody celebrate Tom Brady, and then you can move on the rest of the season and move on with your life as a Patriots organization.
Mac Jones is in year 3 of his rookie contract. After year 3 is when the big extensions start coming. After year 3 is when the 5th-year option gets decided on. I look at Mac Jones in the same situation that Daniel Jones was in last year. Okay, he's 1 year removed from it, but he's getting close to the Daniel Jones territory. How much pressure do you think is on Mac this season as a whole?
Oh, my God. I don't think we can measure with existing technology. And it goes not just what you just said, Brady, in terms of making sure you can prove to the Patriots that you can be not just a competent quarterback, but a franchise-making quarterback going into that 4th year. But now if you're the New England Patriots, you're going to really look at Mac Jones closely, because you brought in Bill O'Brien to take over this offense. If it's not able to work, if it still looks disjointed the way it looked last year, then that's going to be a very interesting decision they're going to have to make. Do they go out to a quarterback in the draft next year? Do they bring in a free agent? Do they move on from Mac Jones? There's so many moving parts that they're going to have to really answer to when it comes to him and the future of this organization. So we always talk about pressure on quarterbacks. We talk about that on Dak Prescott, the Dallas Cowboys, and Rodgers for the New York Jets. You can put that a little bit on Brock Purdy, the San Francisco 49ers. But maybe, just maybe, Mac Jones may be the one guy in the league that has the most pressure on him, because we've seen what has happened the first 2 years, good and bad, with Mac Jones. But we still don't know exactly what kind of quarterback Mac Jones can be or what kind of quarterback that he should be at this point of his career. If we're still having those answers, that we're looking for those answers to those questions, then I guarantee the Patriots are probably thinking maybe the ultimate answer is he can't be the quarterback for this team. We got to move on and get somebody else.
You know, it's interesting you bring up this point because I was listening to ESPN radio and it was your show when you were filming in the morning a couple weeks ago, and you guys were talking about which quarterbacks have the most pressure, and nobody mentioned Mac Jones. And then I look at other people talking about the NFL and which team could be an under the radar team, which team could be a surprise team, which team are the favorites. The Patriots are never mentioned. It's almost like the Patriots are in a place of NFL irrelevance all of a sudden here. And Freddie, that's not good for business.
It's not good for the Patriots business because the NFL is never going to be irrelevant. But it's really interesting, Brady, you said that, because we have not talked about the Patriots this way in over 23 years. Because anytime you talk about the Patriots, there's always a team you have to watch out for. The road to the AFC led through them when Tom Brady and Bill Belichick were together. And now we wanted to see exactly what that was going to look like with Tom Brady now in retirement mode, because believe me, he's not coming back. The only thing he's coming back to is maybe the Manning cast, and that's it. But he's not going to play in the National Football League. But it's really interesting that we look at teams that we think about in terms of relevancy, whether it's attention or if they can compete for a championship or will they compete for a championship. And nobody talks about the Patriots like that anymore. And I guarantee you, that's why Robert Kraft put that out there before this season got started, where he said, you know, if we don't stand for those kind of things around here, not making the playoffs, but more importantly, he was saying not being relevant in terms of attention and being a team that can compete for a championship. If we had the same old Patriots lately, a 7-10, 8-9 team and not making the playoffs, I can't wait to see exactly what Robert Kraft is going to do about that, because he's not going to stand for that much longer.
Jack Jones had the charges dropped against him. Like the way it's written, it doesn't mean that Jack Jones is innocent, but it also means that Jack Jones has not been found guilty. So there's nothing legally now that's going to happen to Jack Jones. Do you think the NFL comes down on him at all?
That's a really good question, because I'm surprised I've not heard anything about the NFL coming down on him or saying that they want to meet with him in the league office or have a conversation with him. So it's really interesting, Brady, that you say that, because normally in these situations, you hear something from the National Football League, and we have not heard anything. The NFL wants to make sure that if they're going to do or say anything, they're going to wait till after this first week is over, because they know how big week one of the National Football League is. We got Kansas City taking on Detroit on Thursday to kick off the season. You got all those matchups involving the Cowboys versus the Giants and the Bengals versus the Browns. And then it culminates on Monday night with Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets hosting the Buffalo Bills. They don't want anything or anybody to get in the way of that until they have to deal with it. So I guess that's why we have not heard or seen anything from the NFL regarding the situation. They want week one and all the pomp and circumstance to kick off the season, get out of the way, and then they'll get into discipline mode if they decide to do that regarding Jones and the Patriots.
Freddie Coleman, ESPN Radio, Freddie and Harry. I'm still getting used to the new name myself. Freddie and Harry on ESPN Radio. Freddie, I had a blast last week. It was a long couple of days for me with a lot of travel, but I had a blast at the U.S. Open. You were absolutely right. It was a great event. I enjoyed being there in Queens. I got to go to walk around all the grounds, saw a lot of doubles matchups, went and sat at the grandstand. I got into Louis Armstrong and saw Iga Swiatek, the number one player on the women's side, play. So I got to do everything I'd want to do in a 24-hour span in Flushing, and took in the Mets lose to the Rangers as well. So I had a blast down there.
Yeah, that's a full day, but especially the U.S. Open. It's such hallowed grounds now. We talk about Wimbledon being hallowed ground, but we can now put the U.S. Open in that same category. And it's because of people like you, Brady, and people like me who are tennis fans, who know exactly what that means to win in New York and have that kind of crowd and have that kind of atmosphere. That's where the U.S. Open now, and for my money, is the greatest tennis tournament in the world going on right now, because so many factors factor into that.
Freddie, you're the best. Enjoy week one. Continued good luck with the new show. We'll catch up in a few days.
Oh, it's a pleasure, Brady. Talk to you in 7 days, my friend.
Absolutely. There goes Freddie Coleman, ESPN Radio. Harry and Freddie and Harry, his new show with former Falcons wide receiver Harry Douglas. So Freddie and I are always taping now because Freddie's on the air at this time, but we enjoy having Freddie on as part of our show every single week. We will throughout the NFL season as well. Freddie's always been great to us, one of the best that there is. Going to come back. I got to react to something that Freddie said, and then it'll be time to get out of here. No Red Sox baseball today. Remember, we've got Jazz with George Thomas, which is coming up in 10 minutes. We'll be back to finish it out next on DEV.
Looking for a home of your own, but think it's out of reach? Habitat for Humanity is seeking applications for a home ownership opportunity in Barrie. The 2 or 3 bedroom, 1.5 bath home is located just off Barrie's South Main Street and is a 9-minute walk to Spalding High School. The 1,300 square foot home will be on municipal water and sewer. Qualified applicants must be within Central Vermont Habitat for Humanity's income limits. Limits are based on up to 80% area median income. Applicants must either live or work in Washington or Orange County, must be willing to volunteer hours, and must be able to show $500 in a bank account to cover closing costs. Download the application at centralvermonthabitat.org. Applications are due by noon on September 18th. Don't miss this opportunity. Applications are due September 18th at noon. To apply, go to centralvermonthabitat.org.
Waterbury invites you to think local, buy local, and be local by experiencing our many craft beer and food options. Whether you're anticipating that first delicious cold draft at a local brewery or picking up a variety pack at the store, the countless beers brewed in Waterbury and around the area are easy to access. Available on tap and in stores, we've truly earned the nickname Waterbury. We also have many restaurant options to please all palates. Take a night off from the kitchen and indulge yourself with fine dining, cafes, pubs, or takeout. There's something for everyone.
This is Green Mountain Dry Goods, across from Ben & Jerry's. We have soap, stuffies, souvenirs, and more.
Take care of your mind and body by choosing acupuncture, massages, reflexology, spas, salons, chiropractic care, and more. Indulge in some self-care and support our local businesses. Visit discoverwaterbury.com for more information.
Marvin windows are designed for unprecedented performance and exceptional aesthetics. Marvin's expansive window portfolio has every style you can imagine, all of them crafted with the highest quality material and the ability to mix and match across product lines that allows you to achieve the right form and function for your residential, commercial, and replacement needs. See our Marvin specialist at Sticks and Stuff and Swanton Lumber in Middlesex, St. Albans, Enosburg, Swanton, and Derby, or online at sticksandstuff.com.
The Capital City concert season opens with a flood relief concert by renowned pianist Jeffrey Chappell, one of the most beloved performers in the series' history. Friday night, September 8th at the Barry Opera House. All ticket proceeds to benefit flood victims. Let's fill the Opera House and share the healing power of music and raise much-needed funds. Tickets start at just $5. Go to capitalcityconcerts.org.
Local businesses advertise with WDEV because they get results.
I've been advertising on WDEV for a number of years now. It's been a really great spot for me to get my name out.
They're an excellent partner for our advertising dollars.
We jumped at the opportunity and we're so pleased we did. We have experienced incredible results.
Interested in advertising on WDEV? Contact us at WDEV@radiovermont.com.
Want Brady to hear your opinion on the sports stories of the day? Text in at 802-585-3026.
Now it's back to the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
Welcome back in, Brady Farkas Show right here on WDEV. No Red Sox baseball today. Sox will be back at it again tomorrow against the Orioles. We'll have Jazz with George Thomas coming up here in about 10 minutes. Just want to put a bow on our interview with Freddie here, and that interview will be available momentarily on the Brady Farkas Show podcast channel at Apple Podcasts and Spotify. This whole thing with Tom Brady this weekend, it is kind of weird, isn't it? And initially I didn't think it was, and I thought the most interesting part of this conversation was, oh, should they be doing it? You know, when they're doing it, right? We talked with Freddie, hey, should they do it against the Eagles or should they do it against a team they could probably beat? And I heard Phil Perry and Tom Curran say, you should do it before a team you probably, that you're going to beat. And I thought that that was the most interesting part of this. I also think it's interesting, though, now, where is Brady? Like, Tom Brady is being honored. Now, he's not having his number retired, as I understand it. He hasn't been inducted into the Patriots Hall of Fame yet, so maybe that's why he's not anywhere. But why is he not out doing interviews? Why is he not talking? Why does it seem like something that should be a huge and momentous deal is not being made to be that huge and momentous of a deal? Now, just moments ago on social media, I saw Robert Kraft out there talking about it. I did see Belichick asked about it on WEEI. I saw Mac Jones asked about it on WEEI. The players have been asked about it by the media. But by and large, I feel like this has kind of gone under the radar, don't you? I mean, Brady hasn't been anywhere. Now, maybe it's because it's week one and we don't have the inside the NFLs and things like that. But, we still have NFL Live. We still have NFL Network, and we haven't seen Brady on any of these things. So it just feels like this should be maybe the biggest moment of the year for the Patriots, and Brady has been nowhere to be found. And I just find that a little bit odd. And it was Scott Zolak who earlier today we played the cut of on the afternoon news service saying, like, it's a little bit awkward. Like, they're just kind of doing it, ushering him in, ushering him out. And that does feel a little bit odd to me. Yeah, go ahead, Danny. Go ahead and play that Zo cut.
Somewhat awkward. That's even coming from me. Mr. Patriot, Mr. Brady guy. Yeah. He's not doing any interviews. He's not doing anything. It's like it's in and it's out. And they're going to honor him, and that's going to be it.
It just feels odd. Because if I were being honored at a place I played for 20 years, I would think I would be out talking about it. And it just hasn't happened. So we will see what Sunday looks like. But right now, the whole thing feels kind of awkward. And again, initially, I thought the conversation should be about, when they're doing it. Now my conversations are about why are they doing it this way where it seems very under the radar. Thanks to you for listening. Thanks to Freddie for being with us. Thanks to Buster, who spoke with me on tape earlier. All those interviews available on the podcast channel. Thanks to Danny for producing and engineering the show. Red Sox are back at it tomorrow. Jazz with George Thomas is next on DEB.
Flush Hill Country Club,